Welcome back to Wellworthy Weekly. This week, rising food prices and federal funding instability are changing how Americans eat. This week's Wellworthy explores the connection between food, mood, and affordability, and why fiber might be the unsung hero. Food prices are soaring and paychecks are delayed, and programs like SNAP-Ed face uncertain funding. But amidst this stress, there's a quiet shift happening in how people eat, one that might be reshaping both physical and mental health. Retail beef prices reached record highs this fall, according to USDA and consumer trend data. And about 60% of Americans report buying less beef as a result of these price increases. Now, before you jump to any conclusions, this isn't about ideology. This, for many families, is about practicality and stability. It's economics. Yet, on the flip side, these small shifts could lead to some unexpected benefits. Whether you're looking at the continued push towards focusing on more plant-based diets, reducing our consumption of non-plant-based protein sources, and or the environmental impact of those sources, or if you simply just want to save money, there are multiple layers to the benefits that we can potentially experience from some of these shifts. Now, I'm not saying that the things that are driving these shifts are good things. I'm not expressing an opinion on that at the moment. But what I am saying is that there are some unexpected consequences of these changes. One of the unexpected benefits is if we look at plant-based diets, and these are diets where people are consuming more beans, lentils, tofu, grains, fruits, and vegetables. These cost less per serving than animal proteins, and they're backed by growing evidence that they help to improve both brain and heart health. Replacing red meat with plant proteins lowers LDL cholesterol and reduces cardiovascular risk, according to studies highlighted by the American College of Cardiology. Meanwhile, if you remember last week, I mentioned the new Eat Lancet report on a plant-forward diet. And this study reframes plant-based eating as a global equity issue and focuses on urging affordable access to nutrient-dense foods in every region. But when you look at this, it's not just a story about nutrition, it's also a story about mental health. Healthy plant-based diets, those that are high in fiber and antioxidants, are linked to lower anxiety and depression. And one thing that's particularly noteworthy is the role that fiber can play in mood regulation. Fiber feeds the gut microbiome, which helps to regulate serotonin. And serotonin is the neurotransmitter that stabilizes mood. To put it simply, fiber helps to stabilize your mood. But where does this leave people when Americans get on average less than 60% of their recommended daily intake of fiber? This is where the shift to more plant proteins and plant-based diets comes into play. These foods, not only are they able to provide you the protein you need, but they also can help Americans get closer to their fiber needs and thus help to support more stabilized moods despite all of the things that are going on around us. One thing to note here though is that diet quality still matters. Processed plant foods heavy in refined grains, refined sugars, refined oils actually show the opposite effect. So it's not just that you eat plant-based foods, it's also what plant-based foods you're eating. These processed foods can worsen inflammation and depressive symptoms. At the end of the day, the message here is not about a push for veganism. It's a push for focusing on whole foods, colorful foods, fiber-rich foods, and thus more nutrients that support both your body and your mind. While we're having all of this talk about fiber, while we're talking so much about fiber, one of the biggest hangups people get about shifting to a more plant-based diet lies in this myth that plant-based foods cannot fulfill your protein needs like animal-based proteins can. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics confirms that a plant-based diet can fully support muscle and metabolic health when you're actually consuming sufficient intake. Now, sufficient intake is different for everyone. I won't get into that in this conversation, but I want to point this out because it's one of the things that people get the most hung up on, and whether or not it could fulfill their protein needs. So, as I stated before, the real gap in most diets is not actually in the protein intake, it's in the fiber. And this is truly relevant because, as we spoke before, we talked about its impact on gut health, its impact on mood, but it also helps to regulate and stabilize blood sugar, help you to feel satisfied and full longer. And then we'd also be remiss to not acknowledge the fact that the current economic instability can have a significant impact on your mental health. During past federal shutdowns, more than 800,000 workers were furloughed without pay. And the APA reported increases in stress, insomnia, and depression amongst these people and their families. So while some people are saying, oh, it's not that many people, the thing that we are failing to consider is that no man is an island. We are all in this and experiencing it together. So there are ripple effects to them being furloughed, whether it's them, their families, the people who depend and or rely on their families, or the people who depend and or rely on the services that they provide. Not only were these people experiencing extra stress and emotional toil, and their communities experiencing them as well, but there was additional strain on resources within our communities that we know are already under strain due to prior cuts from the Big Beautiful Bill to food assistance programs. So for instance, during these prior furlough time periods, food banks saw increased demand. So whether you like it or not, there is a ripple effect that goes all the way throughout our communities. Despite all of our current challenges, there is one thing that helps me to maintain my optimism, and that is community resilience. That is the increasing interest and action towards working together and focusing on building, maintaining, supporting, creating community, whether that is volunteering at a community food bank, whether it is mutual aid. And this form of community resilience is offering something that policy could never do, and that is consistency within our communities and connection. While shared meals might restore routine and fiber-rich foods can help to restore balance, finding community, whether it is, just sharing our experiences, sharing support, whatever it may be, are feeding something deeper than hunger, and that is hope. So if you take nothing else from this week's Wellworthy, I hope that you'll take this. When nutrition, mental health, and economics intersect, the path forward is always going to be about community, access, and equity.